Let's see if this junk is working. Take the scenario book out the way. Oh no, I got space. All right, hello, welcome. Still trying to get some of this stuff set up, making sure we got everything where we need to be. All right. We got the cards here. We got that set up. Okay, let's see. Do I want to put, see if these guys, I got a little glare. Trying to figure out table space is definitely a tricky challenge with this game for sure. All right. Probably gonna have to move this down a little bit. Just so y'all can see. All right, I hope that's not too annoying. I can move it down and kind of line it up. So I need to make sure that that is that. And then that'll be in while I track that. Okay. All right, guys, we'll wait about 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes, and we'll go ahead and get this party started. But for those of you that are in the chat now, the 3 watching, thank you so much for joining in today. My quality is not that good, so I do apologize for that. But yeah, so this is going to be an interesting live stream. We're going to try something out today. And so, you know, I've been wanting to play some more Lobotomy 2. And the issue is that some of these campaign scenarios just take so long, guys. I mean, an hour and a half, 2 hours per scenario, around average. And trying to film that is a nightmare, okay? Trying to film that is a nightmare, and then having to come back and edit it. And so one of my friends suggested, in order to save time and still be able to play it, why not try and do a live stream? And so here we are today. So I figured, why not do a live stream of Lobotomy 2? This allows me to show off the Lobotomy 2 content and show off the game in a broader depth, and then I don't have to worry about spending 10 hours trying to edit videos. But all right. So let's go ahead, and I got everything set up here. So we're going to start with scenario 2. Again, just a word of caution for anybody that is watching the stream now, or if you're watching this at a later time, this game is can be very graphic at times. This game is going to be talking about mental health with some disorders. So just a graphic content warning for you there, that there could be a lot of sensitive things that you might be watching or seeing. But again, the purpose of the game is not to make fun of the disorders or portray any of that in a bad light. It is just, again, it's a horror asylum dungeon crawler, right? So, it's a horror theme, and it is used to kind of use these disorders as an advantage, almost like a superpower, right? And so the premise, if you guys are not familiar with Lobotomy 2 or have not watched the previous videos that I have, is we are patients in an insane asylum, right? And so we are trying to escape the insane asylum, but we're also trying to figure out, is this really our imagination, or is this actually going on with what is happening? And so what I mean by that is you can see that a lot of the monsters I'm going to be fighting, for example, a state trooper looks like a demon. We have hellhounds instead of dogs. Our orderly looks like a demon. So for us, we're trying to figure out, is that really is happening, or really a part of an insane asylum that is stuck in hell? Or are we just really that crazy? And so the cool thing about the game is they have iconic Hollywood references, per se. And so kind of where we continued off last time, guys, was we had Gary Wolfenwalde and Ian McFellow in the introductory scenario. They kind of woke up. They were working on trying to escape the asylum. They get to the parking lot, and they end up fighting the Boogie Monster, okay? And so Gary Wolfenwalde is supposed to be, he believes that he is Geralt of Rivia from The Witcher. And then I'll actually do this. And then Ian McFellow, he believes that he is Gandalf from Lord of the Rings, okay? And so those were the two that I played in the last game, so I will continue over playing with these two characters. And then along the way, they have picked up Leona Tincrow, right? Who believes that she is Dorothy from the Wizard of Oz. So they have found her along their journey, okay? Now, the campaign system in Lobotomy 2 is not like a typical dungeon crawl where you get to carry all of your equipment over. You are essentially starting back over at square one. So all of the equipment that Gary and Ian were able to get from the first introductory scenario campaign, that will not carry over. So I am basically starting back over from square one with the basic equipment, all right? So before I dive into the actual scenario, let's kind of go over what you see here on the board. So again, for quality purposes, guys, I'm trying to zoom in as close to the board and some of the cards here that are on the board, so you can have a little bit better quality, because if I zoomed out, you wouldn't be able to see some of the text on the cards. But just know that this game does take up a lot of table space, right? I have a couple decks of cards all over here to the side of me, and so these are the disorder decks. So you have the OCD disorder deck, the schizophrenia disorder deck, the aggression disorder deck, and the anxiety neurosis disorder deck, okay? So each character will start with 2 disorder cards. So let's go ahead and go over that. So we'll go ahead and start with Gary Wolfenwalde, right? He is schizophrenic, and he also has aggression. So I drew 1 schizophrenic card. This is going to be obsessive jealousy, right? So this is going to have a passive effect that every time a character in line of sight gains an insanity token, I may lose 1 health to gain 1 insanity token. All right? And then the effect on the actual card is I can spend 1 action point during an attack of mine. I can spend all of my insanity tokens, and I will gain 1 green dice for each insanity token spent. This will make my attack have a range of 0 to 2, and would also make this attack an AoE. And the cooldown on this ability will be 3 turns, all right? This is called obsessive jealousy, all right? So that is the schizophrenic ability for Gary Wolfenwalde. Let's now take a look at the aggression disorder card. All right, so this is called Deeper and Deeper. This is going to have a cooldown of 3 turns once activated, and this is going to acquire 1 action point on an attack. So it says I will attack once with 1 red die, then I will attack again using 2 red die, then I will attack again using 3 red die. All right, and so I may choose different targets for each attack in that regard. Okay, so those are the 2 disorder cards for Gary Wolfenwalde. Again, I have these over here off camera. And then I am choosing to start him with the Broken Glass basic weapon card, okay? So this Broken Glass is primarily used for a character with a strength attribute, right? Again, the way rolling dice works is whatever the attribute of the weapon is, whatever your number of that is on the character is how many dice that you will roll. So for example, we have on Gary Wolfenwalde, he has a strength attribute of 3. So every time I use this weapon, guys, I will be rolling 3 dice, all right? Also, anytime I roll a lightning bolt, that will count as an extra hit or a success. And then I can upgrade this weapon with 2 junk to add a green die to my roll as well. Okay, so that is the basic weapon that he is starting with. The basic equipment. Everybody will start with the exact same basic equipment. This is going to be a straight jacket. So whenever I am to defend, I will defend with 1 standard blue dice. I can equip this, I can upgrade this card for once with 2 junk to add another blue die, and then again with 3 junk to add another blue die. Now, you can do these upgrades in any order. You don't have to go that and that, but with this card, it just makes sense to do the 2 junk, then the 3 junk. 3 junk, okay. So that is Gary Wolfenwalde's equipment. So let's take a look at Gary Wolfenwalde himself, all right? So he is going to be he has a health of 9, all right? And his quest is to defeat 3 elite monsters, okay? So the purpose of this quest, guys, is at a certain point, each character has an insane side, right, that I could flip over to, which will increase different stats like my attributes, my health, and some of my abilities, all right? And so in order to be able to go to my insane side, I need to complete these 3 quests. So, must defeat 3 elite monsters, all right? He has 3 abilities over here on the side. He has a passive ability called Butcher, that once per attack, you may reroll 1 die for each monster on my space. His next ability is called Sign Language. It has a number 2 here, which means I'm required to spend 2 insanity tokens in order to activate this ability. I can use this ability before I attack to either add Holy or Fire to an attack. And I have a nice little reference sheet over here that lets me know I printed out. Side note, the one downside about this game is there is no reference aid sheet, but thanks to the lovely community at BGG, there is somebody that has a player aid sheet, which is 3 pages that you can print out, all right? And so kind of just goes over the basics of the game and some of the other things. So let's take a look at Holy, which is right here. It says the target will lose all shields printed on its card, and the target may still gain shields resulting from lightning bolt effects, okay? So some monsters in the game, guys, have standard shield effects on their card. And so, for example, like you look at this Orderly, he has a standard shield on his card. That means he will always block 1 attack as well as whatever is on his dice roll. Again, that's going to be shown right there. So in an instance, if I hit this guy with Holy, the only way he would be able to block is from the dice rolls. I'm sorry that looking on my camera, make sure that that was all blurry. Let's see if we can adjust it here to where you guys can see it. So now it should be in focus. So you can see right there, guys, on the card right there, he will have a defense, automatic defense value, all right? So I should probably check and see, make sure you guys can see all that stuff. All right, so back to our pamphlet here. So we have the Holy there, and then Fire was on here somewhere. Fire is right here, all right? So for Fire, we're going to place a Fire token on the target if it doesn't already have one before the attack, and every attack against a target on Fire will have a +1 success, okay? So that is Gary Wolfenwald's. Let me make sure you can see this. All right. So that is Gary Wolfenwald's sign language ability. So adding either holy or fire to attack. The last ability, guys, is witchery. All right, and so I can use this before attacking. I will add a red die and a lightning bolt to an attack that has no AoE. All right, so that is going to cost me 3 insanity tokens. Okay, and then to finish up on Gary, he has a strength of 3, a dexterity of 2, an insight of 3, and a wisdom of 1. All right, so this is Gary Wolfenwalde and everything that he has. All right, let's take a look at Ian MacFellow next. So the disorder cards for Ian MacFellow is schizophrenia and anxiety neurosis. All right. So his schizophrenia card, guys, right here is going to be Dragon Breath. So this is going to have a cooldown of 3 turns. I can spend an action point to make this as an attack. I will roll 2 red dice, 2 green dice. This is a range of 0 to 1. This will gain an AoE and a fire, and then for every lightning bolt I roll, it counts as a success. All right, so that is Dragon Breath, his schizophrenia card. Moving on to his anxiety neurosis card. We have insecurity, okay? So insecurity is going to have a passive that says I will ignore all lightning bolts in insanity symbols and insanity symbols in non-boss monster attacks, okay? So that's kind of bad because, you know, that's a way for me to get insanity tokens. But the ability is it costs me 0, so I can use this for free to draw 2 med pills from the med bag with a cooldown of 4 turns. All right, so that's pretty good that I can use this card for free to get 2 meds. And essentially what a med, guys, is here is the med bag. Med tokens will look something like this. Wait till it focuses in. There we go. Med tokens will look something like this, and they will each have a color. And so what you can do is after you roll your results of the die and see your results, you can spend this token to roll another die of that given color. So Ian MacFellow is starting with a blue med token. So during a defense roll, I can add another blue token. Gary Wolfenwalde had a red pill token to start with, and essentially, when you're selecting characters at the start of the game, guys, you'll draw one from the med bag. Okay, so those are his 2 disorder cards. I am starting him with a spell scroll. Okay. So this is going to have a wisdom attribute, and this is going to be a just generic attack with a range of 0 to 2. I can upgrade this card for 2 junk, and every lightning bolt, if I do, every lightning bolt I get will count as another success. All right. And then, of course, his basic equipment is a straight jacket. All right. So let's take a look at Ian MacFellow here and kind of show you what he's about. All right. So he's going to be starting with 6 health. His quest is to die 1 time. All right. And let's take a look at his abilities. So this is a passive ability called Eagle Form. I can use this once per turn. That's what the little symbol right there shows. And it says in any roll, whenever I roll a lightning bolt, I can blink 1 after the resolution of that effect. Okay, so that means I can teleport 1 space away. And as well as 1 character on my space may blink 1 to the same space as me. All right. So that is a pretty good ability to be able to get in and get out. All right. The next ability is going to be Fireball. So this is going to be an insanity cost of 3 tokens. This is considered an action, so I'll need to use an action point to do this. And I'm attacking with 2 red dice. A range of 1 to 4. This is going to be an AoE attack. This is going to deal fire damage. And for any lightning bolt that I roll, I will add a green die, roll a green die for the attack. All right. Pretty powerful. The last one is going to be No Passage. So this is going to be an insanity cost of 5. I will place a Frost token on a space within 0 to 4. Line of sight is not required, so monsters cannot leave that space and remove the token at the end of that round. So this is a pretty good way to keep monsters in their tracks, right? You shall not pass. All right, and then looking at his stats, we got a strength of 2, dexterity of 1, insight of 3, and a wisdom of 3. So you can see right here, wisdom of 3 is his highest attacking stat. So that is why I went with the spell scroll. Real quick, I have not mentioned yet that the lightning or the light bulb, the insight, this is used for tests, okay? So there'll be certain tests I'll need to make during the game or when I am searching. This is the only way I would use this insight. I cannot use this insight for a attack, right? The only stats I can use for attack are strength, dexterity, and wisdom, okay? So that is Ian Macfellow. And lastly, again, Gary and Ian have decided to pick up Leona Tincrow, okay? So let's go ahead and look at Leona Tincrow's equipment. So her disorders are going to be schizophrenia and OCD, okay? So here is her OCD schizophrenia card. So this is called Fixation. This is going to add a blue die to search test. So anytime I search, I'll get an extra blue die, which is fantastic. All right, that's a passive. The active ability will cost me 0 action points, and it says when another character in 0 to 2 range, line of sight is not required, searches a locker, you also search the locker, right? And this is a cooldown of 2, okay? That's actually very, very good. And so then that was the OCD card. So let's take a look at the schizophrenia card. So we have neurocognition here. Again, this is a 0 action point card, a cooldown of 3 turns. I can blink 2 and take all non-boss monsters on my space with me. I may instead spend 1 insanity to blink 2 alone. All right. So that is the schizophrenia card. And taking a look at her equipment, guys. As always, her basic equipment is going to be a generic straitjacket, but for her, I've kind of decided to mix it up and go with a sling. Okay, so a sling is going to be a dexterity attribute. This is going to have a range of 0 to 1, and I get to re-roll 1 die for free. All right. When I upgrade this card, any lightning bolt will count as an extra success. So that is her equipment, that is her loadout, and she also drew a brown med token. So she can use a upgraded defense dice, all right? So let's take a look at Leona Tincrow, all right? So Leona's going to start with a health of 5. Her quest is to restore 3 or more health at once 3 different times, okay? So she's kind of a healer. When I was looking at her, and I did not plan this on purpose. Basically, I just randomly drew a character, and it was her. But her passive is going to be you may pay X amount plus 1 of insanity tokens to add that many successes to an attack by any character in range of 0 to 4. The line of sight is not required. That is her passive, and so that is always going to be active. So anytime I have a character in range of 0 to 4, I can spend insanity on her to add that insanity plus 1 to add that number of attacks. The plus 1 will not figure out into the total number. So if I choose to spend 3 insanity, I'll really need to spend 4 to only add 3 attack or 3 successes to the attack of my player that I'm doing it for. Okay. The next one is called Gift of Heart. I can only use this once per turn. I can restore X amount of health to any character in a range of 0 to 2. Line of sight is not required. Again, however many tokens that I spend, that is how much I will heal. All right, that person or myself. The last one is a Gift of Brain. This can only be used once per turn. This is going to cost 0 insanity, so I use it for free. I will gain a D3 die, and whatever my roll is, I will gain insanity. All right. So for the game, they give you a generic D6 here, but whenever they mention D3, I'll basically roll the D6 and it's basically cut in half, right? So if I roll a 1 or a 2, that'll be considered a roll of 1. You know, a 3 and a 4 will be considered a roll of 2, and a 5 or 6 will be considered a roll of 3. So whatever my roll is, I will gain that much insanity. So you can see her it looks like for her, she's trying all about gaining insanity, spending that insanity to either heal or bolster my other character's attacks, all right? And then she is a good mix of everything. So 2, 2, and 2, 2 strength, 2 dexterity, 2 wisdom, and then 3 insight, all right? So I believe those are all 3 characters that you guys can see. They have all of their equipment. Again, I'm going to leave the characters over here to the side, and then I'm going to have all of my equipment down here below. The monsters, we'll go ahead and look at the minis. So this is Gary Wolf and Waddle here. We have Ian Macfellow here, and then we have Leona Tincrow here. This is the starting spot I'll start on, and then that'll all go over in a scenario book. And then the monsters we have are the State Trooper, which is here and here. All right. The State Trooper is going to have a health of 1, a movement of 1. If he is to attack, he's going to roll 2 green dice. If he receives a lightning bolt, I will receive an infection to my strength stat, okay? So what that means is whoever is taking this infection, their strength stat will get reduced by 1, okay? For the defense dice, he is rolling a brown dice and a blue dice. And then for a flee stat, you must have a strength of 3 plus to flee from a space with him. Otherwise, you will lose 1 health, okay? And what that means, basically, like if Gary was on a space with the State Trooper, if I wanted to move off the space, I would need to have a strength of 3 plus. If I do, then I can just freely move out of that space with him. However, if you did not have a strength of 3 plus and you moved out of the space, you must suffer a wound, okay? You can never move out of a space with more than 2 monsters in the same space. So if I was to move there, I could not move out no matter what my strength values were. All right. The next is the Hellhound, guys. So another basic monster. For this one, the attack is 2 green dice. If it rolls a lightning bolt, that counts as an extra success. His defense is going to be a blue die. If it rolls a lightning bolt, it will dodge. A dodge is it negates all damage. Basically, all the damage misses. And then for this one, you must have a wisdom stat of 3 plus in order to flee. Otherwise, the Hellhound will move with you. All right. And the last one we have on the board for right now is the Orderly, okay? So the Orderly is an elite monster. He's got a health of 2 and a movement of 1, all right? His attack is going to be rolling a red dice and a green dice. His range is 0 to 1, and if he rolls a lightning bolt, that counts as an extra success. The defense is going to be 2 defense dice. He automatically will get 1 block, and if he rolls a lightning bolt, that is going to be a deflect, I believe. Let me double check and make sure. Yep. So that is going to be a deflect, which is going to be right here, guys. So if a defender has deflect, attackers gain 1 wound after an attack, whether the attack wounded the target or not. All right. So he's basically got a reflect or deflect, however you want to say it. And so that is him. And then if you want to flee from his space, you must have a dexterity of 3 plus. Otherwise, you will lose 1 action. Again, health of 2, a movement of 1. For the Hellhound, I forgot to mention, he's got a health of 1 and a movement of 2. All right. So that is, I believe, everything in terms of the characters. We've got to see all the characters, all of their equipment. We've got to see the bosses on the board. Up here above the player board, we have the Hunt track with the Hunt Master, this big old beauty right here. So normally, guys, what you would do is... and I know that's off screen, but normally what you would do is have all the cards laid out in a row. For me, what I just do is I put them on a deck and put the guy on the deck, and then whenever it's the next turn, you discard that card and you put them on the next one, right? The purpose of the Hunt track is on top of trying to complete the scenario and trying to escape, you are also trying to avoid the Hunt Master. He will be hunting you the entire time. And so this his countdown is basically 12 cards, right? So these 12 cards are considered the amount of turns I have to complete this scenario. If I am not able to complete the scenario in 12 turns, I will lose the game, all right? So that is the Hunt Master in the Hunt Master track. Again, that's off screen up here, guys. Again, the game does take up a large amount of table space. And then just some of the other stuff that I have off screen that you can't see is I already went ahead and showed you guys the disorder decks. You have an equipment deck right here of equipment cards. You have a weapon deck full of weapon cards. We have the spawn deck, so monsters will be spawning up, and that will tell me what monsters are spawned. And then we have the story event deck, where we will be reading from certain cards, okay? That is everything to my left. Some of the stuff on my right, I got the pill bag, I have the junk bag, and then I have this nice token tray courtesy of my wife that she got for Christmas. And so this is where I'm going to be rolling all my stuff. And then I got some of the tokens, like my health tokens. You got the insanity tokens and cooldown tokens. So this is all over here to my right. When I do need to make rolls, I will go ahead and pull the dice roller tray in front of the camera so you guys can see those rolls as well. So again, trying to include you guys in the playthrough as much as I possibly can. And again, I do not want to zoom out because I do not want to lose quality because I am live streaming through my phone. Do not have a high-end camera. So it's something that I need to work on getting in order to get better quality for my live stream. I'm aware of that. So I want to try and keep it as close as possible so we can get as best clarity as we can. All right, well, look, I think that is all of the setup. It took me about 25 minutes to explain the setup, but we got everything set up, got everything ready to go. So let's go ahead and dive in and jump into the actual scenario. So let me go ahead and pull the scenario booklet out that we have here, guys. And let's go ahead and do some reading together. So go ahead and put it in front of the screen and see if you guys can follow along, if you can read it. So it says the prologue setup. It's been a good 10 minutes since you defeated the shifting mass of mouths, tentacles, and bad attitude, but you still can't quite believe what happened. It's almost unbelievable enough that such a beast exists, even if it's just in your fractured mind. It actually is unbelievable that some bunch of madhouse escapees could beat the squirming mass, but it's miles beyond believable that the old man sat in front of you, sipping a glass of water, came out of the monstrosity. Of course, that's presuming that it really is a man. The old man visibly shivers again. He was constantly shaking from the cold and looked almost frostbitten when he arrived, but he's been improving since you spotted a travel blanket in the back of the car and wrapped it around him. If there weren't a million other oddities filling your mind, the fact that the air around the hospital feels quite pleasantly warm would make you wonder where he came from to be so cold. I tried to escape, he said slowly. I've tried so many times, but he found me. He always found me. I couldn't get everything I need. It's too much for the one old man to do alone. But I know. I do. I know. I know where the exit is. The man studies you all carefully, eyes moving from one to the next. He takes another sip and asks, "We can all get out here. I just need my tools to open the exit. But the warden took my toolbox, hid my tools from me, but I know where they are. I feel them in my mind. It's just too weak to get them. You do believe me, don't you? You can help. We can all." He shivers and shakes again. You wrap the blanket tighter around his shoulders and assure him that what he's saying is far from the craziest thing you've heard today. Of course, you'll help get his tools back if it helps you to escape. Where are your tools then? The things the warden takes from us. He keeps them in an old warehouse on the other side of the hospital, or at least he used to. Should still, if the warehouse is still there. The man gazes off and sighs before continuing. The hospital changes all the time. One corridor becomes another, doors move, rooms change, or blink in and out of reality. It's madness, chaotic, but not the old part. The old part never used to change. It would still be there, I think, but don't trust your eyes. Don't believe what you see. What you think you see, that won't help you escape. You can't escape that way. He turns to look at you again, his eyes seeming to brighten slightly. What I was talking about is hard to remember sometimes. Your tools and the warehouse. Oh yes, tools in the warehouse and my books. Well, one book in particular. The locals took it. I think they live in the hospital grounds in their nasty huts. What else was there? Wine? Yes, wine. There's always need for wine, and I lost my bottle somewhere in the ruins. I really need that wine. It is extremely important. Probably the most important thing I need. He stops talking. You wait to see if there's any more, but after a few seconds, he starts to get agitated. Well, get going. There's no time to lose. As you walk off, he calls after you. And don't trust your eyes. All right, so it's kind of a nice little picture of the where we're headed there. So then it kind of just goes about the setup. So it says, follow the usual setup steps as described on 8 to 10. I've already went ahead and placed the tile out. I have already gone and set everything up. So my objective is going to be attain the old man's 3 special items. So I'm going to need his tool, his book, and some wine. and deliver them to him in the ruins, which is at point J, which at this current time is not visible on the board at the moment. So when a character is going to enter, when a character enters a space containing a letter A to J, read the corresponding chapter S to A, S to B, etc. There is no spawn monster phase for the first 2 rounds. The game ends immediately with the characters losing if the Hunt Master steps off the final card of the Hunt track. You may now begin playing. Alright, so that is the start of the game, guys. So, my reading was pretty terrible there, but alright, so the game is ready to start. We got everything set up and we are ready to play. So it says there is no spawn monster phase for the first 2 rounds, which is good. The game will end immediately if the Hunt Master steps off the final card of the Hunt track. So let me get that ready, and now we are ready to play. So I think I'm gonna have we're gonna go in this order: Gary to Ian to Leona Tincrow. So I'll give the first player to Gary. So Gary is the first one up. So I'm thinking. Hello, Folklore. Love the game. I'm glad you love the game. I do. I love the game a lot too. It's just so much to get to the table, and it really does take a lot. So hope you enjoy this playthrough that I have. All right. So let me see. So Leona Tincrow has that ability to search a locker when somebody else searches it. Okay. And so I think what I'm gonna do is spend 1 action to gain 2 movement points, and I'm going to move with Gary down to here. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and end my movement there. I'm gonna use a second action to go ahead and search this locker. All right, so what do we have here? Searching this locker. All right, so I get 0 junk for searching this locker, which is very unfortunate. But now I'm going to go ahead and roll some dice. So I'm rolling blue dice according to my insight. All right, so Gary's insight is going to be 3. So I'll go ahead and be rolling 3 dice, and the number of successes that I get will determine what I can buy. I'll go ahead and roll these dice here. All right, so I actually gained 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so I have 4 successes. That is great. So anytime you roll a star, that is considered a success. So again, there are shields that have a star on them. There's just a generic star, and then I think all the shields have a star and count as a success. All right. So I had the shield and a star, so that's 1. I got double shield with star there, that's 2. And again, so that's 4. All right. So now with this 4, I can go ahead and purchase something. So you're only allowed to purchase something once. So really, I think the best bang for my buck here is to buy both a weapon and a piece of equipment. So that's what I will do. So I'll go ahead and draw the top card from each deck. So let's go ahead and start with the weapon deck. All right. So I am drawing a Hades Cleaver. Interesting. Wow. So the Hades Cleaver has a strength attribute of 4, okay? So that does not mean I cannot use the weapon. I can use the weapon because Gary's strength is 3. I just will not be able to use anything that has a S. So let me go ahead and bring this card closer to the camera so you can kind of see here. So you see how next to some of these, there's like a B, there's a B, and an S, and an S. So what that means, the B stands for basic, I believe, and the S stands for like special or specialized. I can't remember exactly what they call it in the rule book, but if you do not meet this value, you can still gain access to the basic abilities, right? So and for this example, I would still be able to use the cleaver. I would roll 3 dice with Gary instead of 4, but I would gain access to this being able to roll an extra dice. If I decided to upgrade it, I would need to upgrade it with a rope, and I would get access to this. However, if I had these 2 upgrades, until I get a strength of 4, I will not be able to use these 2 upgrades, all right? So that is actually really powerful for Gary. So I'm going to go ahead and put this in my loadout. So I'm able to have... you're able to have, in terms of equipment, 6 items, a total of either equipment or weapons in your area, not including the basic equipment and the basic weapons. So really 8 total, including the basic equipment and basic weapon. All right, but you can only have 2 weapons equipped at one time, and you can only have 1 equipment or something that says armor in there at one time. So I'm gonna go ahead and equip this cleaver in my other hand. So one hand he's got a piece of broken glass, the other hand he's got a cleaver. So that's really good for me. And then I need a piece of equipment as well. All right. So we are getting, whoa, a Crusader shield. So let's take a look at this. So it says this uses a weapon slot in your loadout. So I will add a defense, and whenever I roll a lightning bolt, I will gain the deflect in defense as well. All right. Upgrading this card with 2 straight jump will ignore erythrial from monster attacks, and then using a rock and a broken glass will add another 1 in defense. All right. So you know what? I think I'm actually gonna take this, and I think I'm gonna swap it out with the broken glass because it does use a weapon slot. So I got a shield in one hand and I got a cleaver in the other. All right. Again, one of my actions is I can change my loadout anytime I want to, but I can only do that once per turn, and that is a free action. So I will choose to use that free action right now to swap my loadout. And so that's what I have in my loadout. So actually, you know what I can probably do? I can probably put some of these cards up here so you can just kind of see what he's got. And I know that some of them might be off camera a little bit, but that's okay. Just so you can guys, again, I want to try and give you a representation of what's going on since you can't really see everything since I got it close up. All right. So that is Gary. He still has one more action, but I'm going to have Leona Tincrow use this fixation ability, right? That says when another character in a range of 0 to 2 searches a locker, you also search it, okay? So I will also search this locker. So Leona Tincrow has an inside of 3. So she will roll 3 dice plus I get the passive of this card, which is add an extra dice to search test. So I'll be rolling 4 blue dice, and then once I roll these 4 blue dice, that ability will go on cooldown. So let's see what we get here. All right, so this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and she gains an insanity. All right, so 4 successes and an insanity. So let me go ahead and grab an insanity token for Leona Tincrow. Go ahead and put that on her. And then I need to get these cooldown tokens. So go ahead and put the cooldown tokens on my fixation ability. And we got 2 successes. So I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing that Gary did. I'm going to go ahead and grab me a weapon and a piece of equipment. So let's see what weapon we are getting. We are getting a Pied Piper. Wow, this guy's a lot to it, all right? So the Pied Piper, guys, is going to have a wisdom stat of 3 in order to use this. Range of 0 to 2. Anytime I get a lightning bolt, I get to frostbite all monsters in a range of 0 to 2. Which frostbite, I believe, is... Let me show you guys what that... So frost is actually what it is. And so you'll place a frost token on the target if it doesn't already have before the attack. Monsters affected by frost do not restrict characters' movement and suffer -1 movement in the next monster phase, then discard the token. Affected characters would lose 1 movement point for each move action they perform in their next turn. Discard the token at the end of their turn. All right, so that will go ahead and kind of mess up their movement. So back to the Pied Piper. So that was the basic ability. The next basic ability gives this a range of 0 to 3, and I get to re-roll 1 die. The specialist upgrade is add a green die and add a red die. So really, I'm thinking Ian McFellow might want this. So I'm going to go ahead and keep this because she can have 2 in her equipment, all right? And then, or in her loadout, and then I'm going to do the equipment. So we have a fitness magazine, okay? So this says your maximum health is increased by 4. Discard this card to gain +1 strength immediately. So I'm going to hold on to this, all right? So this is just a generic equipment item that'll just go on my loadout. So her health is increased by 4. So we are at 9. So she is sitting at 9 health, all right? So now she's a little beefy and she can heal. So that is good. So that is the search token. So this search token will go away. We'll go ahead and put that over there to the side. So again, I am still on Gary Wolfenwalday's turn. He has one action left. And I am thinking with that, I am going to, so he has not a whole lot I can do because I don't have any range except for this jealousy, but I need to spend wisdom in order to do that. So my cleaver is not there. So I think what I'm just going to do is kind of set him up to try and defend maybe. We'll see. So I think what I'm going to do is spend one more movement point and I'll move here and then we'll open this door up. All right. We're going to go ahead and open that door. Actually, it should go that way, I think. Open the door and leave him there. All right. So that is the end of Gary Wolfenwalday's turn. So now we're going to Ian Magfellow. All right. So Ian is going to go ahead and do some attacking here, all right? But first, I'm going to use my insecurity ability, which is draw 2 med pills from the med bag. So let's kind of see what we got going on here. So let's see, the first one is going to be that's a blue token, all right? We got another blue token for Ian Magfellow. I'll put these meds over here. And let's go ahead and grab me another one. So he's got a lot of defense. All right. That looks to be a brown, I believe. So that's another defense. All right. So that's good. Ian can tank some stuff. This is going to have a cooldown of 4. All right. 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right. And that will remove the passive. So I can roll lightning bolts and insanities. Okay. So, let's see. Ian could use this dragon breath and eliminate some people. But I think what I might do is I'm going to stay where I'm at. And I think we're going to attack this Hellhound with my spell scroll, okay? So my spell scroll, guys, again, as always, is going to have a range of 0 to 2. All right, so I will attack this with wisdom. So I'm rolling 3 green dice. All right, and let's see if there's anything I want to activate. Nope. All right, so the Hellhound is going to be fending with 1 blue. And if he receives a lightning bolt, he will get to negate all of that stuff. All right, so let's go ahead and get this roll in and see what we got here. Hopefully I can do some damage. All right, well, that is pretty good. But I think the lightning bolt counts as a... No, the only lightning bolt is that. So he, in fact, does not roll lightning bolt, so he's going to take damage. He'll block 1, but I'm hitting him for 1, 1, 2, and 3 because on the spell scroll, I don't have access to the lightning bolt yet. So I'm hitting him for 3, and he is blocking 1, okay? So I'm dealing 2 damage to him. So the Hellhound will be defeated. So I'll just go to place his miniature over to the side. And I will get to gain 1 insanity token for defeating the Hellhound. All right. The next thing I'm going to do is, you know what? We're feeling good. I like it. I'm going to go ahead and attack the State Trooper. So the State Trooper is going with a brown and a blue. And Ian Magfellow is coming with a I'm gonna save the dragon breath for... Well, no, Gary has that deeper and deeper. Do I want to secure the kill? That's the question. Why not? You know, I can wait 3 turns because not a whole lot is coming out right now. So I can guarantee the kill and then go from there. So instead of attacking, I'm going to use my Dragon Breath. So this is going to spend an action point, count as an attack, and I roll 2 red, 2 green, a range of 0 to 1, so he is within range. This is going to be an AoE, add fire, and for every lightning bolt, I will get a success. So I'm not going to put fire on him because I'm fairly confident that this guy is going to be going down. All right. So I get 2 green, 2 red, and then he is blocking with a blue and a brown. All right. So let's go ahead and roll the die here and see what we get. All right, so he is just blocking 1. Of course, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I gain an insanity. So 7, and he is blocking 1. He only has a health of 1. So he will be defeated, gaining me another insanity. So that's 2 more insanity for Mr. Ian McFellow. He is getting insane. He's going crazy. And let me go ahead and put these dice back up top here. All right. And then I will need cooldowns for these. So the Dragon's Breath is getting 3 cooldowns. All right. So that was the second action. The third action, I think I'm going to go 1 and 2 for the third action and stay on this spot and wait for next turn and search that locker. Okay. Again, I got some wiggle room right now, so I'm just kind of feeling out the board. The last person we are going to is Leona Tincrow, Miss Leona. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and use her Gift of the Brain to go ahead and gain this D3. All right. And let's go ahead and roll the D3. Or we'll roll in the D6, but it counts as a D3. And let's see what we get. So 2. All right. So that gains me 1 insanity. So I'll take that free insanity. Always love that free insanity. Nobody's hurt right now, so I don't need to use Gift of Heart. I don't really need to use a Gift of Courage. All right. So let's see. I got this Pied Piper, which is 0 to 2. All right. So I actually think I messed up. Should there be a door there? Let me see. Hold on. I think this is considered a doorway, but I think for the scenario, it's blocked. Yeah, for the scenario, it is blocked. So that's considered a wall. All right. So really, the only 2 exits out this room are here and here. All right. So if that's the case, I see Gary. Well, Ian does have a lot of pills. Yeah. So I think Ian can survive on his own because he's got a lot of pills. Gary's going to need some backup. So we're going to go ahead and, you know what? We're going to get wild with Leona because she actually has 9 health. So she's a little tanky herself. So we will go 1 action to spend a movement point, all right? Because the Gift of the Brain does not count as an action, right? The only time it would count as an action would be if it said action next to it. It does not. So I'm gonna spend 1 action point to go 1, 2, gain 2 movement points there. I think we're gonna spend another action point to do a movement and go there, and we're gonna stop there. And I'm gonna have Leona take out this Hellhound or try and attack the Hellhound, all right? So I got decision here, right? I can use this sling, which is 0 to 1 and allows me to re-roll 1 die, okay? So that would be using 2 dice, or I can use the Pied Piper. I would still only be using 2 dice, but if I happen to roll a lightning bolt, I could frost that Hellhound and it would not be moving at all. So it technically would not be able to attack. Let's take a look at this green die. So really there's only one lightning bolt. So 1 in 6 chance for the lightning bolt. I think I will take the more safer route and go with my sling, all right? So I'm going to sling with 2 green dice. Hellhound is blocking with 1 blue. So let's see what we got here. All right. And I hit him for 1. The insanity token for the, let me pull the dice here so I'm not holding this. All right. So this is what I rolled. So the insanity for the Hellhound does nothing. It counts as a blank. I have rolled an insanity and rolled a success. So he is not blocking anything. Leona will gain this insanity and I will defeat him because he only has 1 health. So this Hellhound will go bye-bye. And I've already gained an insanity. No, I need to gain an insanity for defeating him. All right, so I'm at 4 insanity. And I believe that was my turn, right? Because that was 1, 2. That was 1, 2. And I attacked. Okay, so that is all 3 of my characters. So we will now move into the monster phase, guys. So in the monster phase, the first thing is the Huntmaster track, I believe. The Huntmaster track will go first. So this big bad boy will move onto the first space. He starts off it, and then he'll move on it. So he's moving on to the space for the first one. So nothing is going to happen. I do believe, the way I understand it, is that whenever he does an effect, right? So whenever he starts off the board, he'll move on to the first one. And then when he moves to the next one, you flip this card over, and you will read its effect, and that will count for the turn, all right? If I did that incorrectly, please let me know in the box if you are aware. So that is the Huntmaster. Huntmaster goes first. Then we move to the monster movement phase, okay? So all the movements are going to be moving towards the nearest character, measured by the shortest path. So they're going to do their 2 movement. And if they ever have a choice, then we're going to do that. So really that's 1, 2... boom, boom. So really, he's coming this way. So the elite monster has a movement of 1. All right, so he moves 1 there. And the state trooper, let's see, that's a wall. So he's going to have to move 1 into that room. All right, so that's the monster movement. All right, now we're going to go into the spawn monster phase. But if you recall, I am skipping the spawn monster phase for the first 2 rounds. And then we will now go into the monster attack phase. All right, so the state trooper is not near anybody, but the orderly has a range of 0 to 1, which Leona Tincrow is in range. So he will go ahead and attack her. So he is coming with a red and a green. Interesting, all right? If he happens to roll a lightning bolt, that will count as an extra success. Leona Tincrow will defend with her straight jacket, which is just a generic blue dice. All right. But thankfully, she has +4 health, and she can heal herself. So let's see what we got here. All right. So she just gets an insanity. And let me pull these results out and put them right here in the corner. All right. So he rolls a blank and a success, and then she just gets an insanity. All right. So she gets an insanity, and he rolls 1 success, so she will be taking 1 damage, all right? So 1 damage, 1 success, and that is that, all right? So that is 1 full round of Lobotomy 2, guys. So at this point now, the first player token will be passed down the line to the next player. So Ian McFellow will now be the first player, and then we will go ahead and continue play. So Ian McFellow, we're going to go ahead and flip over this. And we're going to spend 1 action to search, all right? So I'm getting 0 junk again, man. I'm very unlucky. And we're going to go ahead and roll some die. Oh, I'm sorry. Before I do all that, we have the maintenance phase, which is going to make sure reading this correctly. So we got the maintenance phase, so pass the first player token, and then remove a cooldown from each card. So I will remove a cooldown from every single one of my cards that I have used. Boom, boom, boom. All right, and then I remember I said I was going to do this. All right, so straight jacket and a spell scroll. We have a Pied Piper and a that, as well as a straight jacket and a fitness magazine. All right, so that's kind of all their stuff. So Ian McFellow is going to be the first player, and that's off camera, but it's all right. He'll be the first player, and we searched, okay? So let's see, we got an inside of 3, so we're rolling 3 dice. Let's see what we get here. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so I'm getting 4 successes. This dude is on the track. All right. Man, so I could get a weapon for 3 and a med for 1 or an equipment. Let's see, I got a lot of pills, so I can always defend. Let's go ahead and get a weapon. So we'll spend 3 to grab a weapon, and let's see what we're gonna get. The Black Wand. All right, baby, look at this. That's what I'm talking about. So you need to have a stat of at least 3 in order to specialize in this weapon. Range is 0 to 1, and any lightning bolt will automatically be counted as a success. Upgrade it 1 time for making a range from 0 to 2 instead of 0 to 1. Upgraded the next time to add a green dice plus fire to it. And then for a 3rd time to add a red dice plus any lightning bolt counts as a double success. All right. So that is what we are talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and take this spell scroll out and go ahead and you put the Black Wand in play. All right, that could not be for a more fitting person. Then I'm going to spend my last success in order to draw a pill from the pill bag here. So let's see what we got, guys. What are we drawing? What are we drawing? What are we drawing? This is going to be a green. All right, so a green die. All right. So that was that. So we'll go ahead and remove this, throw it over there. And, okay. So that was one action, okay? My next action, I think I'm going to spend a movement point, go 1, use my next action to open up the door for 2. All right, and then my last action is just going to be to move 2 spots to go 1 and 2, all right? That is Mr. Ian Macfellow, all right? So then he's first player. So next in line would be Leona 10 Crow. So let's see what you doing, girl. Let me see here. We can blink. All right. We can blink. And let's see. I think though what I'm gonna do is, just attack the orderly. The problem is I really don't have a whole lot. So I think I need a dexterity of 3 plus to flee. Otherwise, I lose 1 action. All right. I guess we're just going to go ahead and spend a movement point to attack. All right. So I'm going to attack with the sling again. So this is going to be a mana cost or not a mana cost. Dice of, so she's got a stat of 2, so I'm rolling 2 greens. What was her? She had a pill for defense. Yeah, I think that's all I can think of right now, because if I moved onto him, that would stop. I moved away to flee, I would lose an action, and that's basically my turn. Well, I could still open a door. Which might work. I don't know. Let's try this first and see. All right. So attack of 2. He's blocking with 2 blue and an automatic success. All right. Let's go ahead and roll. All right. So he blocks 1 insanity. I do 1 and gain an insanity. So he is blocking both of those. And did he roll any lightning bolts? No lightning bolts. So she gets an insanity. So she is maxed out at 6 insanity. To an attack by any character. So it says I can pay that to add that to an attack by any character in range 0 to 4. Does this include herself? Because if so, I think I might do that. So I'm going to spend, let's see, he gets 2. So I just need to hit him for 2 more. So I'll spend 3 insanity to add 2 to my attack. All right. Gift of courage. And boom, boom, boom. And now I would hit him for 3. Okay. Which is going to be enough to kill the orderly. All right. So anytime you are defeating an elite monster, you will gain an insanity and then also gain a junk from the junk bag, all right? So we have a pipe. All right. So she's getting a pipe. All right. And then that was my first action. Okay. The second action, we're going to go here and open up this door. And then the third action, I think I'm going to roll up in here and end my turn. All right. So that was Leona Tincrow. Now we're moving to Gary Wolf and Walday. So I think I'm going to spend one action to go 1 and 2. The next action to go 1 and 2. And then the last action to open the door and go into the space with that guy. All right. So that is all 3 of the characters. All right. So now we're going to go to the Huntmaster phase. So he will flip over the card and we'll go and let's see what this says. So Sound of the Police. All state troopers get a bonus +1 movement this round. All right. So I'm lucky. I'm looking out because we only got 1. I'm already in a space with a state trooper. All right. So we're now going to go to the movement phase. He's already there, so he's not moving. We're going to the attack phase, spawn monster phase, but this is the second round. I'm not spawning any monsters. And then we will go to the attack phase. All right, so the state trooper is going to be attacking Gary Wolf and Walday, so he's using 2 green dice. Gary is going to be defending with a generic straight jacket for 1, but I also have my shield, all right? So I'm going to get an automatic defense, and if I roll a lightning bolt, he will take 1 damage, essentially killing himself, all right? So let's see what we got, which I already got stuff in there. So I just need 2 blue and a green, all right? Let's see what we got here. Wow. All right, well, it's good and bad, right? So I actually block all of his attacks, right? Let me go ahead and pull this out and show you what's going on here. All right, so I rolled 2 defense. I got a free defense, but I also rolled a lightning bolt, which is a deflect. So he's taking 1 damage. Again, let me double check that that's what that is. If the defender has deflect, attackers gain 1 wound after the attack. All right, so he is hitting me for 3 damage. He rolled no lightning bolt, so nothing special. I block 2. I block an extra because of my shield. He gets the lightning bolt, so he takes a wound, and he would basically kill himself. So he tried to hit me with a baton, and I got a giant Crusader shield. That didn't work out, and then I will gain this insanity, or I'll gain an insanity token for defeating him, because he technically is dead. All right, well, that was his turn. And that is basically all of the monsters that are on the board. All right. So now the player marker will move to Leona Tincrow. And she will be the first one in line. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and spend 1 action to flip over this token. All right. Now we're getting somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and I get 2 junk. All right. So I get 2 junk for this. And let's see what the 2 junk is. Pull 3 out. All right. So we get 2 junk, which is a rope and a pipe. All right. So she's got another pipe and another rope. All right. And now we're going to make, again, I forgot, guys, the cooldown phase. So cooldown, and cooldown. All right. So this is actually, her fixation would actually come back online. All right. So the passive of this is to add a blue dice to search tokens. All right. So I will actually get to roll 4 blue dice. So this is gonna be cool. Let's see what we get here. All right. So I rolled. Let me get all these results out here for you guys. Boom, boom, boom. All right. So I rolled 4. All right. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I have a decision to make. Let's see. I can get either a weapon or a piece of equipment. All right. I don't know. Let's see. Weapon wise, I mean, she's really. I don't think I want her doing a lot of damage. Okay. I have a Pied Piper, which could work to raise her stat up. She could be using the Pied Piper. So I think I'm going to go with an equipment. All right. So I'm going to spend all 4 of mine to go with an equipment card to see if I can get something better for defense. All right. And we are getting Sandals of Hermes. All right. So this is reusable. So it's +1 to my dexterity stat. All right. And I can tap this card to gain 1 additional move point in every move action this turn. I must discard 2 junk to untap this card. All right. So we have a Sandal of the Hermes. We have Fitness Magazine. So +1 to that. All right. So that was my first action. My second action is going to be to move. So that's going to be 1, 2. And the third action is going to be 1 and 2. All right. So that was Leanna Tin Crow. We have Gary Wolf and Walday. I think we're going to go ahead and search. All right. Let's go ahead and search this. So I'm gaining 0 junk. That's tragic. 0 junk, and I'm rolling 3 blue dice. All right. So 3 blue dice. And what am I getting? 3 insanity. Wow. 0 blanks, but I get 3 insanity. I guess that's a decent. That is a decent compensation, I guess. So I cannot grab anything. However, I think I'm going to use Leanna Tin Crow's fixation, right? So go ahead and when another character in 0 to 2 searches a locker, you may also search it, all right? So I will get to roll 4 dice, and then that ability is going on cooldown. So let me go ahead and put that ability on cooldown, and go ahead and roll some dice here. All right, so I get a success of 3, okay? So a success of 3. And what can I get? I can get a weapon. Again, I think I'm going to go equipment and a pill. All right, so let's take a pill and see what we get. All right, so I get is that a green? I think that's a green. Yep, that's a green pill. All right. So we got a green pill, and then I'm going to take an equipment, all right? Keep loading her up. So Dark Child's Cape, all right? So I can spend 1 insanity to add invisibility to my next move action this turn, all right? So I got to keep an eye on this. So she has 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? 5 and 6. So she can only hold 2 more items, all right? And that was that. So that was the end of... Was that Wolf of Walday's? No, that was the first action with Wolf of Walday. Second action is going to be open this door here for 1 and 2. All right. So I have landed on the space with a A on it. I believe it says whenever it turns into space containing letter A, we are now going to read the entry. All right, guys. So let's take a look at this next entry, kind of progressing with the story. I told you this moves along. Or I told you this takes a while. All right. So warehouse. You're sure that you've been in this part of the asylum before. It certainly all looks familiar, and you know that this door opens up to the main corridor. That should give you a straight run through to the old asylum where the old man said the warehouse is. Not knowing how many of the search party may be in the corridor, you open the door ready for anything. Or rather, ready for anything except what you actually find before you. The corridor isn't a corridor, but a woodland path. How can that be? Where's the corridor gone? Okay? Maybe the old man's advice not to trust your eyes carries a wisdom you hadn't appreciated when he said it. The door, a normal door, an internal door, has opened onto a fog-filled forest path. Peering through the fog, you get the hazy, half-formed impression of tall trees, shrubs, and maybe, just maybe, some hospital remains some distance away. Or maybe, just maybe, some hospital remains some distance away. Worse still is the movement you can make out, though, without enough clarity to tell who or what is waiting for you. The whole impression is very unsettling, even terrifying, but you have no alternative other than to press on. Each character will gain 1 insanity token, and I must now place the forest tile to the right of the existing common area tile and populate it as shown below. All right? So let me go ahead and grab each character an insanity token here. So each character will gain an insanity. So let me just make sure. Boom and boom. All right. And then I must now place the forest tile to the right of the common tile and populate it as shown below. All right. So give me a second, guys, while I'm going to have to shift probably everything over to the right a little bit. So removing some of these state troopers and orderlies while I make some room. And we grab this. Let me shift this over to the edge and see if that's good on the camera there. And then I'm going to have to move all of these guys back in their respective places. All right, so Mr. Ian Macfellow, I'm going to have to bring you down here, good sir, with everything that you own. All right, spell and wand. All right, and then we have Mr. Wolf and Walday. You are going here, good sir. All right, get this Creator's Shield and Heavenly Cleaver. All right. And that's that. And then Miss Leona Tin Crow. You are coming over here, my good child. And you are filled up. All right, so again, guys, this is all, I'm going to have to move all of my characters off screen. And everything that they have while I get all of this stuff set up. So she's still first player. And we got a straight jacket and 2 Pied Pipers. Okay, so all of them are moved out of the way. So I need to grab this forest tile, which I already had on top. All right, so I'm putting this. We're going, I believe this is the forest tile. Yes, okay, so the gate is down there and it's gonna go just like this. All right, so that is exactly how that's gonna go. Okay, so then place forest tile, and then I need to populate everything. So this door is now gonna prop open. All right, so this is gonna open here, and starting at the top, we need a hellhound, a state trooper. So we're going a hellhound here, a state trooper there. We need an orderly and a hellhound, orderly hellhound. So hellhound here and an orderly up here. Okay. I need this A token is going away, and I need the B and the C token. All right. Let me find, we got the B token is going here, and the C token is going up top there. All right. So that should be everything, and it looks like I need a mist token here, but it looks like there's some more mist stuff. So I'm supposed to have 2 mist tokens. 2 mist tokens there, and it says mist token, reveal story cards S2EC1 and S2EC2 and place them near the board. You may now continue playing. All right, so let's go ahead and put the story cards out, because I'm not sure, there's like a bunch of these mist tokens that I have over here. Let me go ahead and lay these out. And man, sucks that there's a giant glare on that. All right, so we need SC1, SEC1, and SEC2, which is right here. Okay, so let's read S2EC1. So this one says, take 8 mist tokens, randomize them, and place them near this card. They will be used in later chapters. During the basic and elite monster movement phase, any mist tokens on the board move 1 space towards the nearest character. At any time, if a mist token shares the same space as a character, flip the mist token and replace it with the monster shown on the reverse of the token. All right, so take the 8 mist tokens, randomize them, and place them near this card. They will be used in later chapters. All right, so let me go ahead and mix them up, but technically I'm supposed to put 2 out right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and follow the instructions and put 1 there, and then the other mist token was right there. All right, so I got this card over here to the side, so I'm going to put this card here, and we'll put the rest of the mist tokens on the top of this card. All right, So that was EC1. So let's go ahead and read EC2. All right. So this says Event 1, the choking mist. Each character not in a building makes a strength 4 test. Each point short of 4 causes 1 wound. All right. Event 2, I guess they're just rats. So players can discard 1 mist token from the board without flipping it. In Event 3 to 4, poisoning mist, spawn a zombie soldier if possible. Okay. So what this is, guys, is what's going to happen now is, see you can see that closer. All right. So what's going to happen now, guys, is I will be drawing from the spawn deck. Okay. And I believe I actually should have been drawing from the spawn deck the last turn. I forgot. So now I'll be drawing from the spawn deck in the event that a spawn card has the event on there. So some spawn cards will say, let me just, for example. So the spawn deck is going to look like this with cards and a location of where they're going to spawn up. So some cards are going to say event 3, right? And then you have event 2, event 5, event 4. So if ever I get an event card, I will read the corresponding number that is on the story card. And that is what I will do. So let me go ahead and give the spawn deck a shuffle, all right, and put that over there. All right. So I do believe I will get to continue with the rest of my turn. All right. And so I'm going to go ahead and continue with the rest of my turn. And man, that glare is really bothering me. Let me see if I can shift these down just a smidget. Get off the glare. See if that helps. Helps a little bit. All right. So he searched for 1, he searched for 2, and then, Mr. Gary Wolfenwalde, what do we want to do? You know what? I think through the door, only 1 space, and that requires an action, man. All right, I think what I'm thinking here is I think he's all right. You know what? I think we're going to tank some stuff. All right. So my last action is going to go 1 and I'm going to move down to B and I'm going to go 2. All right. Because I need to kind of get this scenario rolling, right? I've got some items. I've got some things that I need. I kind of need to get this scenario rolling along and, you know, kind of get this thing moving a little bit before I run out of time. Okay. So I got everything set up, everything that I need to go. All right. And then let's see where we're at on the live stream. All right. And that is the final turn, right? Okay. So now we are back up top to the Hunt Master phase. All right. So the Hunt Master is going to be going on another card here. So he's going to be spawning his card. This says Police Raid. Spawn 2 state troopers at random spawn points on the same tile as the character with the first player token. All right. So we need to spawn some police. Sound of police. All right. So I need to grab a spawn troop, or I need to get a state trooper. Give me a sec. Have my little thing of state troopers. All right, got my state trooper. All right, so I need to spawn 2 state troopers at random spawn portals on the tile. So let's see, I got 3 random spawn. Let me roll the dice. So we're gonna do 1 or 2, 3 or 4, 5 or a 6. All right, let's go ahead and roll and see what we get. 5 or a 6. All right, so we got 1 state trooper spawning up there. 1, 2 or 3, 4, 5 or a 6. All right, and we got a 4, 5, or 6, so we got a spawn trooper spawning up right there, okay? Now, again, the first player token is with Leona 10 Crow. All right, it has not changed yet until we get to the next phase, I believe. Yeah, so that was the hunt phase. Now we move to the monster movement phase. So we're going to go ahead and start with get these state troopers over here so I know exactly what I'm doing. All right, we're going to go ahead and start with these state troopers, right? So every state trooper will move one space. So he's going to move there. He's going to move there. This state trooper would move here into this space, and that's it. All right, now we're going to go to the Hellhounds. So Hellhounds are going to be moving 2. So the Hellhound is going to go 1 and 2. This Hellhound is going to go 1 and 2, and there's nothing there. And then the Orderly is moving 1, so he will move 1 space. I actually messed up again because I forgot to do the spawn phase. All right, so we'll go with the spawn phase. So starting with the player with the first player token, we are going to spawn in event number 5. So I don't have an event number 5, so this is a free pass. Then next is Gary Wolf and Walday. We need a Hellhound in a blue. So a Hellhound will pop up right on Gary. I need to grab my whatchamacallit. So a Hellhound popping right up on Gary. Oof. He's gonna be struggling there. All right. And then Ian Macfellow is the last one to draw a spawn card. Reshuffle the deck. All right. Well, look. We kind of lucked out with that one. So reshuffling the deck up. I'm going to go ahead and do this. Give it a nice little reshuffle there. Boom, boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. Give it a nice little reshuffle. All right. That is good. So I lucked out with that. So now we will go into the attack monster phase. All right. So the only people that are attacking are all this. Let's go ahead and resolve the state trooper first. So he is coming at Gary with 2 green. And Gary gets to defend with a blue. All right. So let's go ahead and roll these dice and see what the outcome is for the state trooper. All right. So blanks across the board. The state trooper rolls an insanity, which does nothing for him. So that's blanks across the board for the state trooper. All right. So he does nothing. So now let's go to the Hellhound. So 1 Hellhound is attacking with 2 green. And Gary is defending with a blue again. Let's go ahead and roll for 1 Hellhound. All right. 1 Hellhound is doing 2 damage. I block 1. And I automatically get a second block. So I blocked both attacks because of my Crusader shield. I did not roll a lightning bolt, so there is no reflect. And then let's go ahead and roll for the next Hellhound that is on my space. All right. Jeez Louise. So he is doing, that's 2 damage plus 1 success for every lightning bolt. So he's doing 4. I automatically block 1. All right. Automatically block 1. And, that's rough. So I'm taking 3 damage. So Gary is taking 3 damage here. Boop. And put that on him. So I'm keeping track. All right. So right now, Gary's sitting at, he's got 3 wounds. So he's got 6 health left. All right. And I believe that is all the monsters because he's a range of 0 to 2. And that is that. All right. Well, we are continuing to roll through this. Everybody that has just joined us, thank you for joining the stream, guys. You are jumping right in right when things are getting thick. All right. We got Gary over here getting surrounded, man. Look, you better channel your inner Witcher, and it's time to go to work. All right, so that was all the monsters. So now we're going to pass the first player. Well, first, before we pass the first player token, we go into the maintenance phase, which is removing a cooldown from every single ability that has one. All right. Then the first player marker will pass on to Gary. So Gary will be the first player, and we're going to start with him. All right. So my objective is I need to get to B and I need to get to C, but I also, hold on. I believe I was also supposed to do something with the mist tokens again. Let me double check and read this card. So it says, during the basic and elite monster movement phase, any mist tokens on the board will move 1 space towards the nearest character at any time, or move 1 space towards the nearest character. All right. So this mist token would be there. That mist token would be there. All right. Then it says at any time if a mist token shares the same space as a character, flip the mist token, and replace it with the monster. All right. So I did half of that right. So, well, I didn't do it right at all. I forgot to move the mist tokens. All right. So the mist tokens are moved, and we're good. All right. So now it is Gary's turn. All right. Let's see here, man. Ooh wee. Okay. So I think what I'm gonna do is, what is my? I need to defeat 3 elite monsters. All right. I have 5 insanity. Okay. So I'm thinking about doing this. I mean, it's an AoE. So I think I'm going to do this obsessive jealousy card. Okay. So I think I'm going to do this obsessive jealousy card, all right? So this is spending 1 action point to do an attack. I will spend all of my insanity, okay? So Gary has 5 insanity, so that's 1, 2, 3. That's 3, 4, and 5, all right? So I'm spending 5 insanity, and then I will gain a green die for each insanity spent. And this will be an AoE attack from a range of 0 to 2, okay? So go ahead and put these insanity tokens back in there, all right? Just trying to show you guys I'm not cheating. So I get 5 green dice, and it's an AoE, all right? So AoE will hit everything on my space, okay? The monsters will defend in types and groups of monsters. So I need to do a defensive roll for the State Trooper, and I will only need to do 1 defensive roll for the Hellhounds. That will count as both of them. So let's go ahead and roll for the State Trooper first. He is defending with a blue and a brown, all right? So I'm rolling my 5 dice. And he's defending with a brown and a blue. So let's see what we get here. All right. All right. So that is a lot. He ain't defending that. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He blocks. That doesn't count. He blocks 1. And that's all it is. All right. So the State Trooper is getting annihilated. So move him over there, and Gary will gain an insanity back. All right. And then we need to go ahead and make the defense roll for both of the Hellhounds, okay? So the Hellhounds are just rolling 1 blue dice. I'm, again, rolling 5 greens, all right? Let's see what we get. All right, so that's 1, 2, 3, and then it doesn't say anything for lightning, so lightning doesn't count. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and the Hellhound rolls a blank. So I'm dealing 4 damage to each Hellhound. They each only have 1 health, so both the Hellhounds will be destroyed, gaining me 2 insanity, all right? So I like that trade, right? It's basically spending 2 insanity to wipe out my entire space, okay? So again, I need to put, so that was obsessive jealousy, so I need to put 3 cooldown tokens on that ability, all right? Go ahead and move these dice back in the corresponding spots. All right. And then that was my first action, okay? So my second action is going to be 1 and 2. All right. Moving 2 there. And then the last action I'm going to take is I'm going to move again. Now, I can flee from a Hellhound if my wisdom is not a 3+. So in order to flee, I need a wisdom of 3+. However, if I don't, the Hellhound will just move with me, all right? So I'm okay with the Hellhound just moving with me. So I'm going to spend 1 movement point and go onto this space right here. All right, so this will trigger the B scenario, which is going to... bring out this other board. All right, this is gonna. Well, I'm about to read some stuff first. All right, so let's go ahead and read this section right here. So, home is where the hate is. So, following the path and studying the fog for movement, you start wondering how it can be possible that you are outside the hospital, but it definitely looks like you're outside. Maybe the old man was wrong and you can find a way to escape out of here. You start to notice a solid mass coming clear in the mist. You struggle to make it out, but it looks like a building and a break in the trees. No, that's not quite right. It's multiple buildings. Maybe huts or cabins? Is it possible that there's a village or small settlement here? But who could live here? All right. The old man said that the locals had stolen his books. Maybe you're about to find them again. So now I must place the center of village tile below the forest tile and populate it as shown below. All right. So adding indoors, different things like that. I will now remove letter B. If you have already placed a tile to the right of letter token D, then remove D. The fountain, which is letter H, is at the intersection of four spaces. Characters on any of these four spaces may interact with the token. You may now continue playing. All right. So as always, guys, I'm gonna need some time to create some space and set up this this token. So let me see here. I'm gonna have to get creative with how I want to do this. So it says this is going below the forest tile. And I'm going to need to have what is in the bottom right hand corner. So this going like this. All right. So let me see here. I might have to shift my camera out just a little bit. Okay. Let me go ahead and move the Hunt Master track over there. And let's see, because this is going below. Yeah, I'm going to have to. Okay. Let's see here. All right. I could actually what I could do is maybe flip it the other way because it's kind of the same thing, but let me see. All right. Move the camera up some. See if that works. All right, so I know what I'm gonna have to do. All right, so I'm just gonna have to shift everything that way. All right, so let's go ahead and shift everything. It's kind of the difficult part of just trying to maneuver things. So let's shift everything this way. All right, I'm gonna have to. Gary, some of your stuff is in the way. All right. Did that help? I don't think that helped at all. Nope. I think that made things worse. But I do have space here for right now. So what I can do is move it down and then figure out space. All right. Let me see. If I put Gary here and all his stuff. All right. Then I can shift that down. See what that looks like on the camera. Okay, just a little bit more. All right. So I just need, so the space down here, again, there's nothing. So as long as I have Ian showing, I should be pretty good. All right. See if that works. All right. Interesting. All right, guys. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to stop the live stream here, and I'm going to try and find a better way. I'm going to play around with some better ways where I can get some space on the table, and do this in a manner where I can get everything, because there's a big glare right up here too I really don't like, that's bothering me. So I need to find a way to where I can get that, neutralize the glare, and then find a good way to have this. So I'm gonna go ahead and end the live stream here, guys. Play around with this. Be on the lookout of probably tomorrow morning. I'm gonna go ahead and resume the live stream. We'll go with part 2 of the scenario and go ahead and keep going. But yeah, I mean, like I said, guys, as you can see, I hope you are enjoying the Lobotomy 2 playthrough so far. And like the scenarios do take a while. I mean, we're at an hour and a half on this scenario. Thank you guys for joining me so much. I hope you liked the video, and stay tuned for some more Lobotomy 2 content. All right, guys, y'all have a great one. Bye.